Alright, so today we are moving on to tutorial number 3. This will be the last tutorial for the Simple Stories Spooky Nights mini album. Today we will be finishing the back of page 4 and doing all our decorating, so stay tuned. Hey and howdy everyone, it's Jeannie with Paper Pixie Ink, and today we are going to be completing our Spooky Nights mini album. So we're going to start by completing our pages. So we are on the back of the 4th page, which is all that we have left for our pages. And this one's fairly simplistic, but a little bit fun and a little different. What we're going to do is we are going to create 2 tag pockets that will be independent of each other that will attach to this page. So in order to do that, we are going to need to cut 2 pieces of black cardstock to 8 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then we're going to score both of those at 4 1/8 and 8 1/4. And then on the other side, you're going to score it at 6 1/4. So once you have them cut and folded, we're going to fold along the score lines, and then we're going to cut in the center of the 2 score lines in the middle. We're just going to cut a little triangular piece out so that we can fold these over. Now, one is going to become the closure to help bind this closed, and then the other piece is going to become the part that attaches to the page. So let's go ahead and get these glued together, and then we'll move on. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and apply some glue on the little tab that was left over, and we're going to glue both of these down to the right side of the back of our 4th page. I'm going to take a little notch punch from We Are Memory Keepers. I've had this for a really long time. I'm not even sure it's sold anymore. And I'm just going to notch the ends of each of these so that it's easier to pull the tags out that we will create here in a minute. Alright, so let's go ahead and choose some paper or cut-aparts to go on these. Now these are pretty much the perfect size to use with the 4x6 cut-aparts. So I'm going to use 2 of those, and then I'm going to use 1 piece of my 8x6 paper that I'm just going to cut down to size. And then for the 2 pieces of pattern paper and the 2 cut-aparts, I'm just going to line them up with the already punched notches and notch those as well with the same punch. And then I'll go ahead and glue them all down. Alright, so now that we have those completed, let's go ahead and choose a piece of pattern paper to match with what we just placed down and glue it in. And then once we have it glued in, let's go ahead and just attach this last page right into our album. Alright, so to create the back cover, the inside back cover page, I just took another piece of the black shimmer paper like I did on the inside front cover and cut it to 8 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then I glued it down with another piece of patterned paper on top of it. Alright, so now that we have our album completed, it's time to create the photo inserts and do the decorating. So to start, we're going to finish off our photo insert. So we had cut our black cardstock to 8 3/4 by 6. And now we're going to trim 4 pieces of our pattern paper to 5 3/4 by 8. And then we're also going to trim 4 pieces of the glitter cardstock to 5 3/4 by 1/2 inch. And that's going to be the topper for this. So once we've done that, we'll also need to take the scallop punch and punch the corners of the glitter paper so that they will match how we have punched our large pocket photo mats. And then we'll go ahead and glue everything down. Alright, so to create the little tags that go in my tag pockets on the back of the 4th page, I cut 2 pieces of black cardstock to 6 3/4 by 3 7/8. And then I used one of my We Are Memory Keepers tag punches to just punch one side to create the tag. And then I used my paper snips to just round the corners on the punched edge. And then I used my crocodile to round the corners of the other edge. And then I took a piece of pattern paper and I cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then used my crocodile to round the corners on those as well. Alright, and to finish off my tags, I took a couple pieces of ribbon and a couple of We Are Memory Keepers eyelets, and I used my crocodile to attach the eyelets to the front of each of my tags, and then I tied the ribbon in the eyelet. Alright, so the rest of the album is just decorating, and while I generally kept it pretty simple, I used mainly the tags and other ephemera, the cut aparts from the collection to create tags or little tuck spots for, additional photos and other photo mats that I created with the cut aparts and tags. So I'm just going to put the rest of this on fast forward so you can kind of see what I did to create some of these, but really it's just whatever feels right and whatever will use the rest of what I have left from the collection to try and fill up the rest of my album. So I did create a lot of little tuckaways using some of the cut apart tags, and then a lot of the other 4x4 and 3x4 cut aparts and journaling tags. I created mats for those. So you can journal on some of them, you can use some of them for photo mats, but really I just tried to use the collection to the best of my ability. So that's our album. Again, this was the Spooky Nights from Simple Stories, and I used the 6x8 paper pad to create this, along with a few of the cut apart 12x12 sheets and a package of the ephemera. So thanks for watching, everyone, and as usual, if you're interested in seeing more, don't forget to click on that subscribe button.